You know, sanctuaries, as it relates to hunting properties, means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I'm going to share with you what it means to me. On my property, my sanctuary is a place where deer will never smell people. I mean, I say never. The only time we go into my sanctuary is when we're trailing a deer that we've shot. And sure enough, I'm telling you, if any buck that I put an arrow in has an ounce of oxygen left in him, he's heading for that sanctuary. And the reason he's heading for the sanctuary is because deer die where they live. Where they bed, where they spend the most amount of their time between feeding and roaming, is where they live, and that's where they die. So it isn't a coincidence that where they live is in the sanctuary. They live in that sanctuary because on my property, they don't smell people. You know, here's a scenario. Big old buck, he's been pushed on a neighboring property, and he's looking for a place to retreat where he doesn't have any pressure. When he comes into my sanctuary, he won't smell nothing. He's comfortable. There's no human intrusion. There's no pressure at all. So there's a good chance that's where he'll take up residency. And that's what I want to create. In fact, on my property, not only do I not cut wood, not only do I not run my four-wheelers, shoot a gun, practice with my bow and arrow, hike, bike, do any of those things. I don't even mushroom hunt. I don't shed hunt. I mean, God knows that's where the big sheds are. But if I have any intentions at all of killing those deer, I'm not going to go in there looking for their antlers. You know, that's just, it's very hard. It takes a lot of discipline not to do. But on my property, considering it's only a couple hundred acres, I mean, I've taken bucks. It's unheard of in most of North America for 3 bucks to come off a property on a regular basis every year that exceed 4, 5, 6 years old. I mean, that's unheard of, and we do it. You know, I mean, to do that on 200 acres is crazy. The only way that is even remotely possible is to have a sanctuary that really means sanctuary. And you know, a lot of people ask me, how big, what is the perfect size sanctuary? Well, there's not a perfect size. A lot of it's relative to the makeup of the property. You know, if a property is really rough, got rips, drainages, creeks, hills, different topography, lays really rough, well, that sanctuary doesn't have to be near as large as if possibly the timber was kind of open and the landscape was relatively flat. That would have to be much larger. In fact, one of your goals when developing a sanctuary is that if you don't have a real rough topography that hides deer, that you at least try to build an understory. And one way to do that is through select cutting and hinge cutting, where you'll cut the trees that they fall in such a way that they provide a bedding area and provide light to the forest floor so that a lot of the vegetation can grow. We've even gone in there sometimes and taken a disc, and you know, some of that forest floor is matted down so heavily from the leaves through the years that it's hard for anything to grow. We've gone in there with a disc, ripped it up a few times, got out of there after we cut it up pretty good, and shoot, even cedars pop up now. Stuff just starts popping up everywhere. And that's what you want. You want the most amount of cover. Now, like I say, it doesn't matter as far as the size. That's not near as important as the way it's made up and relative to the size of your property. I want as much of my property to be sanctuary as possible. If I just had food and sanctuary, I'd be totally happy. The key is to hunt your food, hunt your transitions, hunt any part of your property in a way that your scent does not blow into the sanctuary. You never want it to blow into the sanctuary because the odds are that's where that big buck's coming from. You know, so, and there's a lot of misconception also that when people say sanctuary, that they're talking about one. On my property, I only have one because that's the way my land lays, that I only really can have one sanctuary. But I've seen properties that have as many as 15 sanctuaries, and they're laid in such a way that each one of them is very strategic, wind-wise, and very strategic as far as the way that the hunters enter their stands and exit from their stands. And to sum it all up, you know, the major reason I do it, the major reason that I don't go in the sanctuaries and I don't leave scent and I don't go in there and enjoy that part of my property is because I grow big bucks. And you know, you've got to have a little discipline. A lot of people own ground for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people lease ground for a lot of different reasons. But if your reason for owning or leasing property is to hold and grow big bucks, my suggestion is to have a sanctuary and have as large a sanctuary as you possibly can.